Kids today are training harder than ever before. Private coaching, year-round leagues, even playing on multiple teams at once. And for some young athletes, sports have become less of a game and more like a full-time job. And parents are often told the same script. If your child wants a scholarship or even a chance at going pro, they need to specialize early, focus on one sport, train year-round, and start as young as possible. But researchers are beginning to question that idea. According to Johns Hopkins Medicine, around 70% of kids quit organized sports by age 13, and nearly half of all youth sports injuries are now linked to overuse, injuries caused by repetitive stress instead of sudden accidents. So here's the question: does early specialization actually create elite athletes? Sports specialization means focusing almost entirely on one sport while limiting participation in others. And over the last 2 decades, it's become increasingly common. The logic seems obvious. The more time athletes spend practicing one sport, the better they become. And at first glance, that idea makes sense. More reps means more skill, more training means better performance. That belief has helped build a youth sports culture around travel teams, private coaching, showcases, recruiting camps, and for many families can feel like falling behind starts really early. But research says there's a problem with this model. Young athletes are still developing physically, and overuse injuries can specifically damage or fracture growth plates. Children and teens' bones contain open growth plates, which are responsible for the growth, length, and shape of long bones until a person reaches skeletal maturity. And growth plate injuries in children damage developing cartilage tissue. If not properly aligned and treated, they can permanently stunt growth or cause limbs to grow crooked. Researchers also found that athletes who trained more hours per week than the number of their age had a significantly higher injury risk. So, are young athletes being developed for long-term success, or are they being optimized for short-term performance? To understand why specialization is controversial, we need to look at what repeated training actually does to the body. Young athletes don't recover the same way adults do. Their muscles, tendons, and bones are still adapting during growth and development. When the same movements are repeated over and over again without enough recovery, the body experiences repetitive biomechanical stress. Over time, that stress can lead to overuse injuries. Unlike sudden injuries like a torn ligament, overuse injuries build gradually. A baseball pitcher repeatedly stresses the elbow and shoulder, basketball players constantly load the knees and ankles, and gymnasts repeatedly impact the wrists and lower backs. As fatigue builds, movement mechanics can begin to break down. When biomechanics change, injury risk increases even more. A major study found that highly specialized athletes were 59% more likely to report injuries, with the majority being overuse injuries specifically. But the effects aren't just physical. Early specialization also has been linked to stress, emotional exhaustion, anxiety, and burnout. It is now believed that playing multiple sports may actually improve long-term athletic development. Different sports train different movement patterns, coordination skills, muscle groups, and energy systems, and that variety may help athletes become more adaptable while reducing repetitive strain. But supporters of early specialization argue that modern sports are simply too competitive for athletes to divide their focus. In sports like gymnastics, figure skating, tennis, and soccer, many elite athletes begin training at very young ages. And from that perspective, specialization may seem to make sense. For families chasing scholarships or elite opportunities, starting early could feel necessary, because in today's sport culture, being behind at 12 can already feel like a failure. But critics argue that the science behind this belief is often overstated. In fact, many elite athletes followed the opposite path. They played multiple sports, developed broader athletic skills, and specialized later. Take Michael Jordan, for example. He did not focus solely on basketball from a young age. He was even cut from his high school varsity team. Growing up, he also played baseball and football. His success shows that developing a wide range of athletic skills before specializing can still lead to elite performance. Some researchers even suggest that delayed specialization may improve long-term performance more effectively than year-round training during childhood. So specialization points to rates of overuse injuries, chronic pain, emotional burnout, and even quitting sports altogether. But there's another layer to this debate: money. Youth sports has become $1 billion industry, which then creates enormous pressure on athletes and families to commit to expensive and rigorous programs to prevent the child from falling behind. So, is early specialization actually worth it? The answer is complicated. In a small number of sports, especially ones where athletes peak very young, early specialization may provide an advantage. But for most youth athletes, the evidence is telling a different story. And despite the pressure to specialize earlier and earlier, early specialization doesn't guarantee elite success, which suggests that the real issue may not be specialization itself, but how early it begins, how intense it becomes, and whether young athletes are given enough time to recover, adapt, and develop properly. Maybe that's the biggest dilemma in youth sports today. The system is designed to create elite athletes, but in many cases it may be driving kids away from sports entirely. For athletes, parents, and coaches, the challenge isn't choosing between hard work and safety. It's figuring out how to develop performance without sacrificing long-term health and development in the process. Because the goal shouldn't be just producing better athletes. It should be making sure young athletes still have the drive and ability to compete once they finally reach their potential.